Oh, that's loud. Welcome back, everyone. So today, before we get started, I got two things that I gotta be doing. First things first, a little bit of silence for the 9/11 victims right now. Thank you for that. I know it's been years since the 9/11 attacks, but it was still a gruesome thing that did happen to thousands of people. Just wanted to pay a little respect for them and for their families and all that. And the thing that I wanted to talk about is what I've been seeing on TikTok recently. A lot of people on TikTok have been talking about it's been nothing but kind of like a bit of a hellhole lately. I see people on one side celebrating the death of what happened to Charlie Kirk, and on the others, I've been seeing people that they want full blown revenge and want us to radicalize, and others are just wanting to mourn right now. And for that, I just wanted to come here and just say this real quick. Um, for one thing, we have to be slow to anger. Yes, we should be angry, but do not let anger take over you. Do not let it fester in you. That's one thing I wanted to come and say. Don't let this fester. That's all I wanted to say. You could be angry, but at the end of the day, we're all still human, influenced by the dark forces. The enemy is not us. It's the dark forces, the principalities, the demons. They're the ones that are trying to divide us in this way. And all I want to do is for the shooters, I want you to find repentance because the world right now, we're living in a time where it's not going to be a good time because if the world finds you first before God finds you first, it's it's not going to be a pretty sight. And for what people are doing on TikTok trying to radicalize us, we shouldn't get to the point of rage. Yeah, we should be angry, but not at the point of rage right now. Right now we're in the point of pretty much mourning. Right now we should just pray right now. Hopefully the family's fine and hopefully everything settles down. But we should start doing stuff with this anger, but not do it in the way that God would want us to hurt or do anything like that. We shouldn't be doing that. I know it might be something to say right now while we're all in an emotional state, but don't let those emotions control you. Because one thing I do know is rage. I do know what rage looks like. I do know what it feels like. I've dealt with it for years. So please don't be angry, but don't let it control you. Don't let this become rage that you cannot hold on for much longer. Be slow to it. And for right now, it's a time of mourning. And just keep praying for the family to be safe and praying for the shooter to come back, come back to justice and for him to find Christ. Because if the world finds him first, he will be tossed into the lake of fire. And that's the last thing I would want is to start throwing people in the lake of fire because they refuse this one at a time offer. So that's all I wanted to say. But thank you. But we're gonna be reading back to Genesis. It's actually a pretty short 3 chapters from what I read last night. Pretty short, but other than that, let's get started. And I probably won't say it again because it is still time in the morning, the time of morning. So we know the drill. Let's just get started. Then Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming with 400 men. So he divided his children among Leah, Rachel, and his 2 servant wives. He put the servant wives and their children at the front, Leah her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. Then Jacob went on ahead as he approached his brother. Excuse me. He bowed to the ground 7 times before him. Then Esau ran over to meet him and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they both wept. Then Esau looked at the woman and the children, and asked, "Who are these people? Who are these people with you? These are your children. These are the children God has graciously given to you, your servant." No, wait. These are the children that God has graciously given me, your servant. Jacob replied, "Forgive me for that." Then the servant wives came forward with their children and bowed before him. Next came Leah with with her children. They both bowed before him. Finally, Joseph and Rachel came forward and bowed before him. "And what were all the flocks of her I have met as I came?" Esau asked. Jacob replied, "They are a gift, my lord. I ensure your to ensure your friendship." "My brother, I have plenty," Issued answered. "Keep what you have for yourself." But Jacob insisted, "No, I have found favor with you. Please accept my gift from me." And what a relief to see your friendly smile. It is like seeing the face of God. Please take this gift that I have brought for you, for God has been very gracious to me. Gracious. I have more than enough. And because Jacob insisted, Esau finally accepted the gift. "Well," Esau said, let us let us be going. I will lead the way." But Jacob replied, You can see, my lord, what sort of children. Some of the children are very young, and the flocks and herds have their young too. If they are driven too hard, even for one day, all the animals could die. Please, my lord, go on ahead of your servant. I will follow slowly at the pace at they are comfortable for the livestock and the children. I will meet you I will meet you at Sir. "All right," Ishu said, "but at least let me assign some of my men to guide you and protect you." Jacob responded. Jacob responded, "That that's not necessary. I have enough. That's enough that you've received me warmly, my lord." So Ishu turned around and started back to Sir that same day. Jacob, on the other hand, traveled on to Sukduth. There he built himself a house and made a shelter for his livestock. There, that is why the place is named Sukjoth, which means shelters. Later, have traveling all the way from Padam Amar, Jacob arrived safely at the town of Shmekmet in the land of Canaan. There, he set up camp outside of the town. Jacob brought a plot of land where he camped for from the family of Homer, the father of Shlemet, for 100 pieces of silver, and they built an altar and named it El Ilkom Israel. El Israel. One day, Dia, Dinah, the daughter of Jacob and Leah, went to visit some of the young women who lived in the town area. They lived in the area. My mistake. But when the local prince Shmekner, son of Hammer, the Hivilite, saw Dinah, he seized her and raped her. But then he fell in love with her, and he tried to win her affection in tender words. He said to his father Hamler, "Give me this young girl, I will marry her." Soon Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter, Dinah. But since his sons were out of the field herding his livestock, he said nothing till they returned. Hermer, Shechem's father, came to discuss the matter with Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's sons had come from the field as soon as they heard of what happened. They were shocked and furious that their sister had been raped. Schleckman had done a disgraceful thing against Jacob's family, something that should have never been done. Homer, Homer, Hammer, I think that's how you say it, tried to speak with Jacob and his sons. My son Shlomo is truly in love with your daughter, he said. Please let him marry her. In fact, I will arrange other marriages too. Give us your daughter for our sons, and I will make your daughters for our sons. And I'll make you our daughters for us. Yeah. And you may live among us. The land is open for you. Settle here and trade with us, and feel free to buy property in the area. And Shlomo himself spoke to Deanna's fathers and mother and brothers, my mistake. Please be kind to me and do not and let her marry me, he begged, and let me marry her. I cannot read right now. I will I will give you whatever you ask, no matter what jari or gift you demand. I will gladly pay it and just give me the girl as my wife. But since Sletman had defiled their sister, Dinah, Jacob's sons responded deceitfully to Shlomo and his father, Homer. They they said to them, "We couldn't possibly allow this because you're not circumcised. It will be a disgrace for our sister to marry a man like you. But here is a solution. If every man among you will be circumcised like we are, then we will give you our daughter. Then we will give you our daughters, and we'll take your daughters for ourselves. We will live among you, become one people. But if you do not agree to be circumcised, we will take her and be on our way." Shomer and his son Shlomo agreed to the proposal. Shlomo wasted no time in acting on this request, for he wanted Jacob's daughter desperately. Shlomo was a highly respected member in his family, and when he went to his father Homer to present the proposal to the leaders at the gate town, these these men are our friends, they said. Let us let's invite them inside. Let's invite them to live here among us and trade freely. Look, the land is large enough to hold them. We can take their daughters as wives and let them marry ours, but they will consider staying here and becoming one people with us only if all of our men are circumcised, just as they are. But if we do, but if we do this, all their livestock possessions even will be ours. Come on, let us agree with these terms and let them settle here among us. So all the men in the town council agreed with Homer and Shephem, and every male in the town was circumcised. But 3 days later, when their wounds still were sore, two of Jacob's sons, Simon and Levi, who were Diana's full brothers, took their swords and entered the town without opposition. Then they slaughtered every male there, including Homer, the sons of Shlomo, and they killed them with their swords. Then they took Diana from Shlomo's home and returned to their camp. Meanwhile, the rest of Jacob's sons have arrived, finding them finding the men slaughtered. They plundered the town because of their sister that had been defiled there. They seized all the flocks of herds and herds of donkeys and everything that they can lay their hands on. Excuse me. Both inside the town and outside in the fields, they looted all their wealth and plundered their homes. They almost took all their little children and wives. Oh, they also took their little children and wives and led them away as captives. Afterward, Jacob said to Simon and Levi, "You have ruined me. You made me stink among all the people of the land, among all the Canaanites and Perizzites. We are so few that they're going to join forces and crush us. I will be ruined, and my entire household will be wiped out. But why? But why should we let him treat our daughter like a prostitute, they retorted angrily. Then God said to Jacob, get ready to move to Bethel and settle there. Build an altar there to the God who appeared to you in the field from your brother Issue. So Jacob told everyone to in the household to get rid of your pagan idols, purify yourselves, and put clean clothing. We are going to Bethel, where I will build an altar to God who answered my prayers when I was in distress. He has been with me wherever I have gone. So I gave so I gave Jacob all their pag so they gave Jacob all their pagan idols and earnings and buried them under a great tree near Shechem. As they set out, a terror from God spread over the people and all the towns in the area. So no one attacked Jacob's family. Eventually, Jacob and his household arrived at Luz, also called Beth, in Canaan, I must say. Jacob built an altar there and named the place El Bethel, which means God of Bethel, because God had appeared to him there when he was fleeing from his brother Issue. Soon after, Rebekah's old nurse, Deborah, died. She was buried beneath the oak tree in the valley below Bethel. Ever since, the tree has been called Athalah Bethuth, and these Greek names are killing me here, which means oak of weeping. Now that Jacob had returned from Paradam Amarno, God appeared to him again at Bethel. God blessed them, saying, your name is Jacob, but you will not be called Jacob any longer. From now on, your name will be Israel. So God renamed him Israel. Then God said, I am Allah it Shaddai, God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. You will become a great nation, even many nations, kings among your descendants. And I will give you the land I once gave to Abraham and Isaac. Yes, I will give it to you and your descendants after you. Then God went up to a place where he spoke where he had spoken to Jacob. Jacob sto- set up a stone pillar to mark the place where God had spoken to him. Then he poured wine over it and offer it to God and anointed the pillar with olive oil. Mm. And God named the place Bethel, which means house of God, because God had spoken to him there. Leaving Bethel, Jacob had and his clan moved towards Ephrath, but Rachel went into labor, and while still some distance away, her labor pains were intense. After a very hard delivery, the midwife finally exclaimed, Do not be afraid, I have another son." Rachel was about to die, but with her last breath, she named the baby Bethonia. Beth Ben Oya. I think that's what it says because I don't think it's Ben Oni because that's a different name, which means son of sorrows. The baby's father, however, called him Benjamin, which means son of my right hand. So Rachel died and was buried on the way there to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Huh. Jacob set up a stone monument over Rachel's grave, and it could be seen there to this day. Then Jacob traveled and camped beyond Mata Etor. While he was living there, Reuben had intercourse with Bethaha, his father's concubine, and Jacob soon heard about it. These are the names of the 12 sons of Jacob. Sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's oldest son, Simon, Levi, Judah, Isker, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bethulah, Rachel's servant, were Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Zebulun, Leah's servant, were Gad and Asher, or Gad and Asher, or Gate, I think that's how you say, and Asher. These are the names of the sons that were born to Jacob at Padam Amar. So Jacob returned to his father Isaac in Mamre, which is near Kadir Abar, Arba, now called Habor, where Abraham and Isaac both lived as foreigners. Isaac lived for 180 years, and he breathed his last breath at the ripe old age, joining his ancestors in death. And his sons, Esau and Jacob, buried him. Oh man, well that those three chapters were pretty short. It seems that at the beginning of chapter 34, it seems that issue may have been visited by God, because he is happy. And I actually don't remember much part of this story. I have very faith, but this is kind of my theory of what's going to happen. Issue's going to help him out because I believe in the next chapter in 36, I think someone does attempt a life on Jacob to try to. It was either on Jacob or one of his sons to try to stop the lineage. I think it was on Joseph, if I remember specifically. So yeah, Jacob is basically, or Joseph is going to be attacked, and God is going to do the thing that a lot of people say that is purely evil and kill one of the guys. And the thing about this chapter 33 is how the sons reacted. This is kind of not what we should be reacting to right now. It's kind of a weird a parallel between what's going on right now on TikTok in this chapter, but we shouldn't do what the brothers are doing right now. Where yes, the sister was defiled, and they took it into their own measures to slaughter everyone, which is probably something the last thing I highly doubt. Like God is the one that's going to bring the justice to us. So he's going to bring the justice to Charlie Kirk and many others in the end of the days. But for us to take justice into our own hands and do the quote unquote dirty work, it's not really a good look for us. Plus, on the other hand, not on the other hand, plus, Jesus told us that we should be loving one another instead of doing that. And those that want to hurt us, do evil to us, we should pray for them to find Christ before it's too late. Because this is the end. Because once you're dead, it's either you end up somewhere in heaven or you end up in hell. Uh, well, not really. I'm taking it back right now, but right from what I've heard from before, I constantly listen to a bunch of like not TikTok, but a bunch of stories from the Bible, stories that I might try and draw parables to, or parallels, my mistake, from like what's going on in Daniel's den to what's going on here. And I found one that basically says that when we die, we go to Shela or Shell or Hades. So there's two different places that we're probably gonna end up. Well, there's actually four areas. So the first area is actually Abraham's bosom, which I know it sounds funny, but it actually means Abraham's chest, which is actually where Abraham is hosting a feast party for all those that were recently deceased and basically died in Christ's name. That's probably where Charlie Kirk is at right now, in that place. So when God finally comes back and raises the dead, that first area, basically, those people right there will be picked up and will be carried away by God. hmm And the other place is not the abyss. I forgot what it was called. Hades. Hades. It's called Hades, and yeah, that's usually where people that died without knowing Christ or accepting him into his life go to. And then the other is called the Abyss, which is it's a holding ground for demons. There is another place too, which is called the Deep Below, or it's something far beyond that. But yeah, on the final days, those that are in the abyss or in Hades will all be thrown into hell if, well, wherever God chooses. And those that are in Abraham's bosom will be the ones that go into the new heaven. Yeah, but this is just like something that I've heard a while ago, but I'm getting a bit of a sidetrack off this chapter, but other than that, the sons didn't need to do that. I don't know why they decided to take justice into their own hands for what happened to their sister. I understand what the emotions were probably running through when that happened, but that's the last thing you want to be doing. And I think that's it. All I can make is what's probably gonna happen in the next one. There's probably gonna be a war from from what it looks like because of what the brothers did. This is just a theory what I'm basically proposing right now. Because like I said, I'm not well versed in the Bible. I probably like well versed in like a few things, but not everything in the Bible. But other than that, thank you all for watching, and just continue to pray for those that need it right now. Enemies, well, not the devil, but those that want to persecute us, and those that need it right now in this time of morning. Well, thank you all, and I'll see you all next time.